Welcome back to Peacock TV Spoilers. The Days of Our Lives community is completely losing its collective mind over the latest cliffhangers, but we have a massive, heartbreaking leak to drop right now. Grab your tissues, because Lexie Carver is gonna die next week. Peacock TV Spoilers. We've been tracking this for weeks, and the rumors are tragically true. As we head into the week of July 20th through July 24th, which officially kicks off July sweeps on Monday, the absolute worst-case scenario is unfolding right before our eyes. Lexie Carver is facing the permanent end of life. Can you believe it? EJ DiMera and Dr. Wilhelm Rolf played God, ripped Lexie Carver out of the afterlife with that unstable Super Serum 2, and now Lexie Carver is paying the ultimate, terrifying price. The Versavix glitch that killed the lab rats is now actively destroying the body of Lexie Carver. I personally believe this is one of the most cruel, emotionally manipulative storylines the writers have ever given us. To bring a beloved legacy character like Lexie Carver back to Abe Carver and Theo Carver, only to snatch Lexie Carver away weeks later? That is crazy. It is pure emotional torture for the Carver family. But here's the kicker. Lexie Carver actually tries to hide this impending death from the Carver family. According to our exclusive notes, the symptoms of Lexie Carver become absolutely impossible to hide, but Lexie Carver stubbornly decides to keep this fatal prognosis a secret. Lexie Carver actually confides in Marlena Evans, telling Marlena Evans that Lexie Carver plans to keep the truth from Abe Carver and Theo Carver to spare Abe Carver and Theo Carver the pain for as long as possible. Let's be real for a second. This is such a classic, tragic soap opera trope, but it makes perfect psychological sense for Lexie Carver. Lexie Carver knows how much Abe Carver sacrificed, especially with Paulina Price stepping aside. Lexie Carver knows Theo Carver is already incredibly overwhelmed with the cancer diagnosis of Chanel Dupree DiMera. Lexie Carver wants to protect Theo Carver and Abe Carver, but keeping a secret this massive is a huge mistake. And you won't believe what happens next, because the secret of Lexie Carver does not last long. The human body can only take so much of the toxic science of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf. Lexie Carver ends up fainting completely without warning. There is absolutely no way Theo Carver and Abe Carver can remain in the dark after witnessing Lexie Carver collapse right in front of Theo Carver and Abe Carver. The sheer panic that Abe Carver and Theo Carver experience in this moment is going to be incredibly difficult to watch. Abe Carver and Theo Carver immediately call 911, and Lexie Carver is rushed straight to Salem University Hospital. The spoilers suggest that Lexie Carver might have developed a severe infection as the immune system of Lexie Carver completely shuts down due to the failing serum. Watching Abe Carver and Theo Carver ride in that ambulance with Lexie Carver, watching history violently repeat itself, is going to shatter the hearts of every single fan. At the hospital, the devastating reality sets in. Lexie Carver is forced to give Abe Carver and Theo Carver the ultimate end-of-life update. Lexie Carver is not going to survive. Abe Carver is going to be profoundly, deeply sad, and honestly, Abe Carver deserves so much better than this endless cycle of grief. Think about the historical context here. Abe Carver literally watched Lexie Carver die from a brain tumor years ago. Abe Carver mourned Lexie Carver. Abe Carver eventually moved on and married Paulina Price. And then EJ DiMera completely upended the life of Abe Carver by resurrecting Lexie Carver. Now Abe Carver has to watch the love of the life of Abe Carver die a second time. And Theo Carver, the entire world of Theo Carver is going to completely crash down around Theo Carver. The discomfort of Theo Carver has been worsening for days, and now the worst fears of Theo Carver are realized. The psychological damage this is going to inflict on Theo Carver is immeasurable. Now, it is time for the hot take section, and I know this is going to spark a massive debate in the comments. The spoilers note that EJ DiMera and Dr. Wilhelm Rolf actually seem like the saddest people in the room regarding the death of Lexie Carver. I am sorry, but I absolutely hate this. I passionately defend the right of Abe Carver and Theo Carver to grieve, but I will ruthlessly criticize EJ DiMera and Dr. Wilhelm Rolf. If you ask me, this is a huge mistake because EJ DiMera is not crying for Lexie Carver. EJ DiMera is crying for the massive ego of EJ DiMera. EJ DiMera wanted to be the savior of the DiMera family. EJ DiMera wanted to prove that EJ DiMera could control the science of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf. And Dr. Wilhelm Rolf? Dr. Wilhelm Rolf is only devastated because the Super Serum 2 of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf was a complete catastrophic failure. The tears of EJ DiMera and Dr. Wilhelm Rolf are tears of narcissistic defeat, not genuine sorrow. Thankfully, Abe Carver and Theo Carver are not going to let EJ DiMera get away with this. The spoilers reveal that Abe Carver and Theo Carver are going to be absolutely ticked off at EJ DiMera. Abe Carver and Theo Carver are going to direct all of that devastating grief and transform that grief into pure, unadulterated rage against EJ DiMera. We already know from the timeline that Abe Carver is going to violently kick EJ DiMera out of the hospital room of Lexie Carver. And Theo Carver is going to use DiMera wealth as a weapon. Theo Carver is so furious at EJ DiMera that Theo Carver is fully prepared to fund the corporate war of Gabi Hernandez against DiMera Enterprises out of pure spite. Theo Carver wants to destroy the empire of EJ DiMera. And honestly, I am completely cheering for Theo Carver to burn the company of EJ DiMera to the ground. Amazing. Speaking of Gabi Hernandez, this tragedy is going to create a very unexpected dynamic shift. As the entire world of Theo Carver crashes down, Gabi Hernandez is going to get incredibly close to Theo Carver. Peacock TV Spoilers, we have been tracking this secret crush Theo Carver has on Gabi Hernandez for weeks. Remember the diary of Theo Carver, where Theo Carver wrote about the feelings of Theo Carver for Gabi Hernandez? Now that Philip Kyriakis has completely dumped Gabi Hernandez is incredibly vulnerable. Gabi Hernandez is going to step up and be a massive source of emotional support for Theo Carver as Theo Carver mourns Lexie Carver. This shared vulnerability is going to fast-track the romance between Gabi Hernandez and Theo Carver. Gabi Hernandez is going to realize that Theo Carver is the only man in Salem who has never betrayed Gabi Hernandez. While the Carver family is falling apart, we are also going to see Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis spending much more time sympathizing with each other. This is such an interesting pairing because both Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis are currently dealing with massive emotional fallout in the personal lives of Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis. Gwen Rizchek is realizing that Xander Kyriakis is just using Gwen Rizchek, and Philip Kyriakis is dealing with the betrayal of Gabi Hernandez. Seeing Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis bond over shared misery is exactly the kind of character-driven storytelling that Days of Our Lives excels at. Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis both have a history of self-destructive romantic choices, so maybe Gwen Rizchek and Philip Kyriakis can actually help each other break those toxic cycles. This entire situation with Lexie Carver reminds me so much of what Stefano DiMera did back in the day. Stefano DiMera constantly used the lives of Salem residents as personal chess pieces, manipulating life and death with the serums of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf. EJ DiMera thought EJ DiMera could step into the shoes of Stefano DiMera and wield that same godlike power over Lexie Carver. But EJ DiMera forgot one crucial detail. Stefano DiMera always had a backup plan, and EJ DiMera does not. The internal logic of the show dictates that whenever a DiMera plays God, a massive tragedy follows. The death of Lexie Carver is the direct karmic consequence of the arrogance of EJ DiMera. And we have to weave in the fan theories about Paulina Price. What happens to Paulina Price now? Paulina Price stepped aside for Lexie Carver, but with Lexie Carver passing away, will Abe Carver run back to Paulina Price? I personally believe Abe Carver is going to need a very long time to heal before Abe Carver can even think about romance with Paulina Price again. The ripple effects of the death of Lexie Carver are going to completely reshape the canvas of Salem. The hospital is going to become a war zone between the Carver family and the DiMera family. Marlena Evans is going to be working overtime trying to provide psychiatric care for Abe Carver, Theo Carver, and even Paulina Price. EJ DiMera is facing attacks from every single angle. Theo Carver funding Gabi Hernandez, Sarah Horton, and Brady Black digging up the drug scandal and the absolute failure of Dr. Wilhelm Rolf. The empire of EJ DiMera is crumbling, and the tragic death of Lexie Carver is the catalyst for the ultimate downfall of EJ DiMera. So, I have to ask you guys a very provocative question. Do you think EJ DiMera should be charged with murder for the death of Lexie Carver, or is Dr. Wilhelm Rolf the only one to blame for this fatal science experiment? Drop your most passionate, fiery opinions down in the comments below, because I want to read every single one of them. And if you want to stay ahead of all the massive July sweeps drama, you absolutely must hit that subscribe button to Peacock TV Spoilers right now. We will see you next time.